Squad Pod. Squad Pod.
Welcome to Squad Pod Sports, everybody, where you bring your thoughts on the latest games and news around the sports world, brought to you by the Sideline Sports Network. Now, as of a couple days ago, new logo and everything.
Check it out.
So go check out their page, check out their podcast, and check out every show in the network. It's Super Bowl week, baby. We here. We at the end of the season, almost.
Had to rep my boy.
You wearing old Tommy B.
Listen,
the
I'm
GOAT.
not rooting for the Buccaneers. I'm rooting for Tom Brady. Okay, that's where I stand
Brady.
now. Came a long way from the news of Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. You know what I mean? I'm just, let's go Brady. Let's go Gronk. I could care less about AB or Fournette or Goodwin
There's only
or
one
Bruce
person
Arians.
that matters.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
Tom
Gronk
Brady and Gronk,
and Tom Brady.
the former Pats. But yeah, it is Super Bowl week. We're gonna be talking about the Super Bowl, kind of going in depth about what the game could be like. But before we get into everything, make sure to like and subscribe right away, and make sure this Sunday to check out our live stream of the big game. You can hang out with us while watching the game. It's gonna be super fun. We'll have guests popping in and out through the whole game. And we'll just be talking some sports shit, It'll be nice. It'll be chill. It's going to be the first live stream that we're doing, so that'll be pretty cool.
Right.
So definitely check that out. We're going to start around 6 o'clock, maybe 6, quarter after 6, after we get everything set up. But yeah, should be a good time. So definitely check that out. And then other news, we're going to talk about the NBA, NHL a little bit. And then for the crazy sports stat fact of the podcast, we got Super Bowl edition, extra big.
Special
edition.
How many of them? 13 special
13.
facts?
We got 13 special Super Bowl facts. So we'll hop right in it, man. We got the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Tom Brady,
And
Pat Mahomes.
You got GOAT versus Baby GOAT.
Goat. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up to you. We could just hop right into this, even just because this is a good segue for it. But if Pat Mahomes loses this game, is it that big of a deal? In the grand scheme of things, realistically, Brady has 3 losses. Brady has 3 losses already, and we still consider him the GOAT. You know, if he has this 4th one, I don't know. And most we'll talk about that when it gets there, but I'm more or less focused on Pat Mahomes at this point. 1 win, 1 loss. Is it really that big of a deal?
I don't think so. Because I mean, even this week, Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, said about how he sees Patrick Mahomes going to multiple Super Bowls through his career. He said he's going to see a lot more of these. So being 1-1, especially losing to Tom Brady, like out of all people, like I don't think that's like a big knock on his career at all. I expect him to be back, and not only be back, but win some more Super Bowls, Now, so
one take I did hear on the radio this week about this specific question here, well, not even about this question, but about the matchup, was 15 years down the line, we're looking, Pat Mahomes has 4 or 5 Super Bowls. And where this question arises, the LeBron versus Michael Jordan, like, who's the greatest of all time, Pat Mahomes or Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Can you really give Pat Mahomes the nod if he lost to Brady 15 years ago, 45 years old in the Super Bowl type? Like they brought up that interesting, like it's very hypothetical.
That is an interesting fact.
It's
but
like if you lost to him already, you lost to old man Brady. How can we consider you the GOAT type of thing? Like it's just
I don't know.
It's just
because I don't know if anybody's going to be topping Brady as the GOAT just based off of his 10 Super Bowls in 20 years stat alone.
That's hard. That's hard to do.
And not only that,
hard
but like
to do, it's
winning
impossible.
6 of them, like more than anybody. So, I mean, I feel like it's going to be hard for Pat Mahomes to top him anyway. But you're right. I mean, if he does get beat by Tom Brady, that does beg the question. Like,
more interesting.
Will he ever top Tom Brady?
You lost to him when he was in the AFC a bunch of times. You lost to him when he went to the NFC, made to the Super. Like, you can't beat Tom Brady? Can you really be the GOAT? Like, it's just like I said, it's speculation for years and years. But I thought it's an interesting point that they brought up.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily hurts him at all, though. I
No.
don't think anybody's going to be topping Brady as GOAT, like, possibly ever, man. Like, that's going to be a hard thing to do.
When
Maybe after
we're dead and gone.
we're gone. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to see it happen, I don't think.
60, 70 touchdowns is like the average in the NFL in 50 years. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, on the other hand, I don't think if Tom Brady loses, it's going to affect his career really at all. I mean, he's still the GOAT.
I feel you on that. I just
10. He's won 6.
It's like
still has a positive record in Super Bowls.
It's so tough because you still won 6, but like I think about it, like LeBron James, what's he 4 and 6?
Yeah,
kind of the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And like everybody gives him shit about that. You know what I mean? Like 6 losses is a lot. I feel like 4 losses is a lot. But you have 6 wins. So I mean, at the end of the day, your record's still positive. So it is what it is.
Can't win
I would still think it's favorable. Can't win them all. But 6 and 4, I don't know, man. I think 7 and 3 and Super Bowls would be crazy. That would be wild.
That's
6 and 3.
He's
is
already
like,
the GOAT, but that's even more cemented. Like what we talked about last week was he's just like furthering himself, distancing himself from anybody else that's played QB.
Max Kellerman tweeted about since he made his Tom Brady cliff theory,
over the cliff.
Tom Brady's had a Hall of Fame career just since then. You know what I mean?
Just like he just wants to make himself look good at that point. Like
right.
Yeah, he's just trying to make himself look good that he predicted this, but like I thought his over the cliff thing was bullshit anyway. Like Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls as that was happening.
It was happening.
Yeah, people knocked Tom Brady for losing to the Eagles, but he still put up 500 yards, and he won that Super Bowl. Like any other QB that does that, he won the Super Bowl. Like I don't know, man.
Crazy.
But Tom Brady, man, he's just on another level. I don't think he's even went over the cliff yet. Like he's still going.
I think
he's still going up.
He's coming up on it. He's on his tricycle coming up to the top of the hill right now. He's almost at the top of the hill. But he is not there yet, bro.
Not yet.
Looking to get he's like, oh, I heard they wanted to name the Vince Lombardi after Bill Belichick. Nah, we naming that the Tom Brady trophy.
Brady. And I mean, just like this week, he was asked during the Super Bowl presser if he would consider playing past the age of 45, and he said, "Yeah, definitely. I would definitely consider that. It has to be 100% commitment on my part to do it." So I mean, he's already thinking about it. Like he's ready to run it back.
Out from here.
Yeah. So
I remember
he's playing next year.
3-4 years ago, people were like, Tom Brady might retire after this. I'm sitting here like, nah, he ain't gonna retire. I know he ain't gonna retire. TB12 method. I watch it. I see it every look at him now. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Look at him. Like leaves and then goes right to the Super Bowl again.
Can't believe it. Begs the question about Bill Belichick.
Yeah. I mean, that was a conversation here the past couple of days due to your boy Danny Amendola saying about the Patriot way. People saying the Patriot way is possibly Bill Belichick and that team, the Patriots, but it seems like it's actually Tom Brady.
People saying free agents didn't want to come to New England to be coached by Bill Belichick. They wanted to come to New England to play with the great Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. I'm not gonna,
it makes sense to me. I mean, I always kind of assumed that's what they were doing as well. I assumed that when free agents go to Patriots, it was to get a Super Bowl and play with Tom Brady, because I feel like everybody would want to play with Tom Brady.
And it was just like you would just play with Bill Belichick because of the situation more. I don't know.
That's
I'm
still
in Bill. I trust 1,000%. Like that is my coach. He is legendary. I think he's the greatest coach of all time, even though he's got a cloud over his head with all this BS in the background.
Yeah.
Even though half of it is, I'm not even getting into that. Yeah. But he's got this cloud of BS above his head as cheater, and so it's like you have as many people who want to consider him the greatest coach of all time. You have just as many people that want to make sure he doesn't get anything,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. I want to see, like we were having this conversation before, I want to see if he can at least make it back to a Super Bowl. If he can make a contending team without Tom Brady before he retires,
Yeah,
Let's see
definitely.
what happens.
Yeah, man. So I do have some stats here talk about the Super Bowl before we kind of get into like what our predictions are and what we think are going to happen. We're going to go back to around the middle of the season here, whenever Tampa and Kansas City played each other. The final score ended up 27-24. Kansas City won. In that game, Tom Brady threw for 345 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And Pat Mahomes had 462 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, he threw for 460 yards, man.
Where was that?
Game. I don't know offhand, to be honest.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, I didn't have that saved. But Tyreek Hill, he had 269 yards that game. That was the game.
In the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he have
that
a
was the game he
shitload in the first quarter?
Yeah. Gronkowski had 100 yards that game.
Damn, okay.
Gronkowski blew up that game.
Nice.
So, I mean, and Ronald Jones had 66 yards. At Kansas City, pretty much everybody almost had, in that running back core, had over 20 yards. They were kind of spreading the ball around through the running back.
Nice.
Okay. So, I mean,
if that's any indication here going forward.
Yeah, so we could have a really good game.
I can't wait. I cannot wait, man. This game's
a lot of people have been saying like this could possibly be one of the greatest Super Bowls we ever see. So I mean, like everybody's expecting it to like be not very good defense. Like people kind of expected to be like what the Eagles and Patriots were, where it was just back and forth, and whoever really gets the first defensive stop that could win the game, for him.
Eric Fisher being out with the Achilles, I'm pretty sure that's what his injury was. He just went out in the AFC Championship game last week.
Yeah.
Can that O-line hold up? That's the thing. Like,
that's true.
But on the flip side of that, Pat Mahomes and these Chiefs, he is the number one QBR under pressure this season.
Yeah.
So like it's like even if you pressure him, he's gonna find a way to do his crazy circus plays and just bomb it down the field. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other question is how bad is the turf toe situation? Like, is it like, I know he's not fully 100%, but like, are they going to try to rely on the run at the beginning of the game, trying to get something going, or are they just going to come out just trying to beat the bricks off of them?
Depends on what Brady does. There's a weird stat about him in the Super Bowl. He, in this 9 straight appearances, not straight, but in all 9 appearances here, has never scored in the first quarter. I
heard about that the other day. I saw that, and I was like, that is crazy.
Notoriously slow starter in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I go through it every time. I'm like,
that could bite him. And I mean, it's not even just Tom Brady, but look at the Bucs this season, and they just it seems like they don't really find themselves until the second half of games.
I think the Chiefs have a record this year for the most points scored in the second quarter, right? Or something like that. It's something
that wouldn't surprise me.
It might be the Packers, actually. So let me scratch that stat because I don't have that written down here, so I don't know that for a fact or not. It might be the Packers and Aaron Rodgers having the most points scored in the second quarter in like history of like the season. It was, but let's just scratch that one because I don't have the stats on that one. But I did want to talk about a little bit about how this is obviously Brady's 10th Super Bowl here, but Gronk has the potential to win his 3rd Super Bowl, which would be pretty nice. Yeah. I think there's 2 tight ends tied for 4. So he wouldn't be the leader. AB, Le'Veon.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
That's a storyline that's going on right now.
Big
the
Ben's
2 former Steelers that were kind of exiled and pretty much were made as like enemies. Like they were made to be bad guys of the NFL. And then look at them. They're both in a Super Bowl.
Shady. In a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Shady's at a Super Bowl again. He got to get one last year.
That's what I was.
Except now he's on the opposite side. He's not even. He's not on Kansas City. this year.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Like to see Shady finally, like, even though he's never like he's not a great, like he's not he might be a Hall of Famer by the end of it when it's all said and done.
Maybe.
But I don't think he's a great, like he's not a you know,
yeah,
AP. He's not Adrian Pete. But
Yeah.
like it's like, it's just I'm very happy to see players like that finally, because he's been in the league for so long. Injury, come back from it. Great season. Injury, come back from it. Like it.
He's
And
one of those
plus he's-
players, you know, that he's a great player. He's had his moments where you're like, oh yeah, I remember when like Shady McCoy did this, like the snow game, the Snow Bowl.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I mean, it's
And
not like
he's from
I mean,
around
he
here,
won a Super
man.
Bowl last year, but it's not like he was really like he wasn't doing that much to
Right.
like in the game. You know, I think he
But
only
he's
did.
also Harrisburg boy. You know.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
right
hometown
around
rep.
here. So
Hometown repping.
let's go
Uh,
Shady.
Go Shady. So I mean, I always like to see former Birds do well too. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was great to see, you know, Andy Reid finally get one last year, and I would like to see him
Right.
get one again. But it was also really cool to see Shady get one at the same time last
Right.
year. But I mean, we could be looking at a pretty high scoring game here. It could be a back and forth, depending on if Tampa Bay can get it rolling early. I expect some runs, but man, I think it's going to be all passing, man. I think they're just going to be trying to bomb it on each other.
I think it's going to be a shootout the whole
Yeah.
time. The weapons that Kansas City has, the weapons that Tampa Bay has, it's going to be a shootout. I cannot wait for this game. I do have a couple more little things I wanted to say about it. Interestingly enough, no cannons when they score touchdowns. Did you see that?
I didn't
The
see that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are only allowed to use their cannons that they shoot like nope. Only in the introductions. They're not even allowed to use them when they score touchdowns because it's supposed to be a neutral field.
Yeah.
But they are allowed to use them in the introductions apparently. I was like, that's But if they win, they can use them as much as they want. That's what they said they could. They said if they win, those cannons will not stop going off. Pretty much. And then another interesting thing, Buccaneers, first time ever with a Super Bowl staff with 4 black coordinators. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and the special teams coordinator are all black coordinators. So it was
nice.
It's the first time for that as well. And I'm like, nice. So that's
awesome.
Pretty cool. It's always cool to see that type of stuff.
Now
as
we
well.
start getting these dudes some head coaching jobs here.
Be enemy.
So, be enemy. So hopefully that happens here.
But that's pretty much the little tidbits that I had for it as far as that goes.
And I mean, going back to your point you said earlier about how the part of the O-line being injured for Kansas City, on the other side, that defensive line for Tampa Bay is no joke, man. No joke. They are scary. So Pat Mahomes could be on the run too. So you saw how they were getting after Aaron Rodgers, you know, and Aaron Rodgers, I feel like Green Bay has a decent O-line. I know they had one dude out, but Aaron Rodgers was just getting hammered.
Yeah.
Like play after play, man.
Tampa Bay's going to attack them all game.
Exactly.
All game.
So, I mean, they're just going to have to, you know, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are the Chiefs. So, I mean, it seems like they just have a switch they can just flip on whenever they're getting serious and want to score touchdowns. They're like, all right, it's time.
The Bucs have a ball hawking defense, though. Like they are so good at forcing turnovers. It's just if Brady can't throw 3 picks. Like, come on now. But they are so good at forcing turnovers, whether it be a fumble or an interception. So it's gonna be a good matchup, man. Tune in to our Super Bowl live stream. Watch the game. And have us on your computer on the side, just chilling, or on your phone.
Turn off the commentary on the TV. You don't need none of that. You're gonna get some real talk. You're gonna get all the real. There's gonna be expletives dropped. I'm sure you're gonna get stuff you can't see on TV here.
Yes,
it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some guests popping in, so that's gonna be really cool. Who are officially official? Who are you picking for the Super Bowl?
I am going with, for Super Bowl 55 in 2021, Tom Brady. Yeah, baby.
Tampa Bay Gronkadeers.
I mean,
Gronk
are you really that surprised?
I'm
Are you really
not.
that
No,
surprised?
we just
No.
needed to get an official prediction on the record.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
ahead and write that down. Vernon Minty's pick is Tampa Bay.
and
Okay,
I am going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm
I
going to go with
figured.
Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think they can do it. Even last year, like I remember you picked the 49ers and I picked the Chiefs, and it started out rough. But then they turned it right on. I think this is a team it's not going to be like that this year. It seems like you saw it through the playoffs. Kansas City is just like rolling from the
Yeah,
first drive,
they're not the same as they were last year. They're even better.
No, they're a well-oiled machine at this point.
Do
So,
have another interesting thing here as
Yeah.
far as you goes. You actually back in week 8 of this season, me, you, and our special guest Alex made our mid-season predictions for the end of the year. Alex picked Green Bay and Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady as the MVP of the year. I picked Pittsburgh and Seattle in the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers as the MVP at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You picked Kansas City, Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. 100% you picked that shit back in week 8. But this is where you slipped up a little bit. You had Russ as the MVP. Russell Wilson.
I got Russ as the MVP. Yeah.
So, and I don't see it happening.
How crazy
but
it was back then at week 8 when Russ was the front runner for MVP, where like looked like he couldn't be stopped, and then look what happened.
But you were definitely spot on with your picks. 100%.
Did I say who I picked to win?
No, we didn't pick the winners back then. We just picked the matchup.
We just picked who was going to be in it.
Hold up, let me see. Maybe you did. All right, you got. Yeah, you did. You picked Kansas City back then too.
Hey,
I wrote it right next to it. So Kansas City, Tampa Bay was your pick, and you picked Kansas City. So you stick to your guns.
Yep, I will stick to it. I think it can happen.
Hey, man, you start making some crazy bets. You had a great record this year, and you picked the Super Bowl correctly.
I'm gonna have to start, man. I do have some other NFL news here as well, other than the big trade. We'll get to that here in a second. But Seattle is planning to hire the Rams passing coordinator, Shane Waldron, as offensive coordinator. The Rams have now lost Waldron, Brad Holmes, Ray Agnew, Joe Barry, and Aubrey Pleasant from their coaching staff. So like they've lost everybody so far. So they're going to be looking for a lot of coaches going forward. Eagles hired Florida Gators offensive coordinator Brian Johnson as their new QB coach.
Okay.
So that's interesting. I was not expecting that. The next one here, the Ravens assistant head coach, wide receiver coach, David Culley. I don't think he got is he the next head coach?
Texans.
Yeah, the Texans head coach.
Yep.
Yeah, I was getting him and the GM they hired confused.
I'm pretty sure he's off the Andy Reid coaching tree there.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's also a 27-year vet in the NFL. So they said this dude knows his football. So
yeah. New head coach today, OC Tim Kelly, DC Lovie Smith, and assistant Josh McCown is part of their staff.
Lovie Smith for Houston.
Nice, he's going to be the defensive coordinator, and Josh McCown is the assistant head coach.
Okay.
Josh McCown's getting into the coaching game.
Deshaun Watson's still like, nah, get me out.
Nope.
Get me to Miami. Get me to New York.
Speaking of Deshaun Watson, the GM, in his introductory press conference, first thing he said, we have zero interest on trading Deshaun Watson. And as a report today, I saw rumors are saying Deshaun is planning to sit out the season if he's not traded.
Right.
And I have this that I brought up. With a $10.54 million salary in 2021, Deshaun Watson would stand to lose $620,000 per game missed. They can fine him almost $100,000 if he misses minicamp. They can fine him $50,000 per training camp day missed, and they can fine him $620,000. Yeah, and they can also fine him $620,000 per preseason game missed if they have preseason.
Oh my!
So per game he can.
Money.
Yeah. $620,000 per game missed. So he has to really sit down and assess if he can stand and lose all this money by skipping a season.
Or just play.
Or just play, man. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I understand that he probably doesn't trust the management at all, because I guess they just weren't going to him to see, like, for suggestions on what they should go with. But man, you just signed a deal last year.
That's what I mean. I think he's a little bit too young, even though he probably did get hoodwinked by everything that happened. You still, man, like, you did sign a contract.
He doesn't have any leverage in the situation. And I mean,
I could see if maybe year 4 or 5 in a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
But what's
and
this,
the
year
thing
2?
is, he has a no trade clause where he kind of gets to pick where he wants to go. But any team that's going to offer for him, I feel, they're just going to try to lowball him, I feel, because they know that that they're going to have to trade him. Like, he wants to be traded, I feel. So I don't know. I just feel like they're going to try to pull one over on Houston, but Houston, on the other hand, is not going to trade him unless they get a king's ransom for him.
If Houston gets anything less than 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson, they deserve everything that they have coming to them for the next 10 years.
Most
they
definitely.
need to get at least 3 first-round picks. I don't care what years, at least 3 first-round picks, plus some.
Yeah, because, I mean, speaking of picks, the trade that just happened, Detroit traded Matthew Stafford to the Rams in exchange for 2 future first-round picks and a third-round pick and Jared Goff.
And your franchise quarterback. Yeah. So if that is what Matt Stafford cost,
2 firsts, a third, and a QB, a franchise QB.
A franchise QB, a Super Bowl appearing quarterback.
Yeah, someone you know can do it.
MVP
the team that just had 10 wins, over 10 wins, like, he can do it, you know?
Deshaun Watson might get 4 first-rounders and Sam Darnold and the owner's Bentley. Or, you know, it's going to be crazy.
It's crazy. Bro. And I mean, and Jared Goff came out and said, I'm just excited to be somewhere that I know that wants me and appreciates me. So, I mean, it seems like there's just, like what we talked about before, how there was bad blood between Goff and McVay. And I mean, yeah. And we talked about before how, like, everybody kind of, like, they saw it at the end of the season. They're like, oh, there's trouble brewing between them. But on the other hand, Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz, you saw this trouble the whole year this was going on. So it's like you showed two different stories of organizations. You just didn't have the QB behind Goff that would possibly take the reins.
That's the difference, I guess. And the fans in Philly are so crazy as far as like half of them are like you, which think logically, and the other half they just impulse.
Bro,
you know what I mean? They're just like
it's hard for me to look, like, we'll get into it then, but it's hard for me to look at Twitter, Eagles Twitter, because they just rip Carson Wentz, and he hasn't said shit. The dude has stayed quiet through the whole thing, and they still ripping him. Like he came out and, like, dissed the franchise or some shit. Like, they just listen to all these. They're listening to all these rumors that, like, don't have any weight to them, and they're just tearing this dude apart when he hasn't even done anything. So it's like, I mean, part of me hates the Philly fan base for what it is, but the other, I know there are some good folks in there that think logically.
There's a ton. There's a ton of them, because you got football fans, man. You got every fan base has football fans like that. Patriots got football fans, like, they're fair weather fans, but, like, it's just
there's people that are ready to get rid of Belichick, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet you somewhere, you know what I mean? But, like, I feel like it just surprised me because before you mentioned Hurts and the fact that there's a quarterback behind Carson causing all of this, I'm thinking to myself, how is LA, a team in LA, with this type of drama in the locker room, not getting the coverage that Philadelphia Eagles situation was getting? But you brought up
maybe it's because they were winning too. They had a winning record. They were getting dubs.
They were so wishy-washy all season. I remember us talking about that. It
wasn't like the Eagles. They could barely get a win. Ended up with 4 wins. They were already being looked at. They're like, this team's abysmal. What's going on? And at that point, they were just finding every little thing in the organization. Oh, here's the issue.
On.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue. Like there were so many reports that were coming out, and finally, we've had a quiet week. I haven't heard anything out of Eagles camp at all, really, other than the whole Nick Sirianni press conference. But
I feel like, what is this? 2 weeks in a row, the only news out of Patriots camp is players talking shit on the Patriots. I think.
Yeah, Matt Stafford came out and he didn't say it, but apparently Matt Stafford wanted to be traded anywhere but New England. That was the report that came out. Anywhere but New England, which is really odd.
On the record, I did say this last week. We don't watch it last week. Stafford. Get out of here.
He must be watching the podcast because I feel like he saw that and he's like, I don't want to fucking go to New England anyway. Like, I don't know who this guy is.
Matt Stafford, if you're watching this right now, good luck in LA. I hope you do well.
I hope Matt Stafford does do well in LA.
That's it. I got nothing bad to say about Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford's been a decent player his whole career, and he's just been held down by that damn organization.
You know what I just watched today, coincidentally? Like I said, I don't got no actual hate for Matt Stafford. I've never have.
Yeah.
But like just today, I watched it's the longest clip in NFL films history, the longest uncut. Have you ever seen that on floating around? It's him.
I don't know. I have to.
End of the game. You know what I mean? He's like, gets sacked. The cameras, he's mic'd up and the camera's on him the whole time. It's like an NFL films type of video. And he's just like, fucked his shoulder up. He like goes off to the sideline, lays on the ground. Culpepper goes in. He's laying there, and he's just like, they still haven't run a play yet. Cleveland calls a timeout. They're like, literally, the Lions only need a touchdown to win the game. Cleveland calls a timeout. Matt Stafford is laying on the ground. He's like, timeout. That means I can go back in, right? He stands up. Like, the camera has not left him since he hiked the ball, got hit, went to the sideline. It's dope clip if you've never seen it. He gets up and he's like, I'm going back in. I can throw the ball if you need me to throw the ball, because his other arm is the one he could throw.
Yeah.
But like I can throw if you need to throw. He goes in, throws a touchdown, hobbles off to the sideline, and he sits on the bench and he's just like, it's out. Like it's a great clip, man. Commentators are just talking about like, that's how you win a city over. That's how you win a city over. And it's just
I mean, Detroit loved Matt Stafford, man. And I mean, he's been nothing but really good for him. It was just, unfortunately, the rest of the team, they just didn't really like have any success. They just couldn't really find the right pieces.
They had Calvin, but that's it.
Yeah. On the opposite side of the trade, according to Peter King, Sean McVay's mindset is, it's not about winning the trade, it's about winning the Super Bowl. That's why he traded Jared Goff and getting Matt Stafford. It's about winning the Super Bowl. And I guess he just didn't think that Jared Goff was capable of winning a Super Bowl.
All right. If that's what you want to put on record, McVay.
Apparently. I don't know if apparently that was according to Peter King, who's an NFL reporter. That's up to him. I don't know if that's words out of McVay's mouth, but that's what was reported.
I believe it.
McVay
is just so weird.
The Rams aren't going to have a first-round pick. Don't have a first-round pick from 2017 to 2023 now.
6 straight years or 7? Are they counting 2020 like as a... Is that 7 years or 6? You know what I mean? Like, how many? Because I don't know how. You know how it always folds into the next year.
I feel like 6.
That's still a ton.
But we thought, apparently, here's a crazy stat. You would think that would be the most, but Washington went an entire decade of the 70s without a first-round draft pick.
And they won Super Bowls in the 70s, didn't they?
I have to look that
Maybe
up.
Not.
But they went an entire decade without having a first-round draft pick. And the Rams aren't going to have one from 2017 to 2023. That's a stat I have here.
So wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was some crazy news. So, Matt Stafford is going to be crazy seeing him in LA. I don't know what they're going to do with the cap space because all their players are on huge contracts. I mean, they got rid of some of it with Jared Goff, but still, you got a lot of players that have big contracts. They have a lot of cap to make up. In other news, apparently the Cowboys are going to offer Dak a 5-year, $175 million contract. And apparently
I
they're
was just talking about that.
yeah,
Because
they're
if they
unwilling
franchise
to
him, it's
go.
37.
Yeah, apparently they're unwilling to go above 35 million a year due to his lack of playoff wins and his injury history now.
Okay.
So everybody knew as soon as he got injured, they were going to use that to their leverage in some way or another. But yeah, they're planning to offer him the 5-year deal that he wants, but it's probably not going to be the money that he wants, you know.
Right. It's not going to be anywhere near the Pat Mahomes contract.
Yeah. Oh, and a little bit of Super Bowl news that I didn't bring up when we were talking about it. Apparently, the barber within the Super Bowl quote quarantine area that they have for the players that cuts the players' hair tested positive for COVID, and 2 of the Chiefs players were sidelined at practice just because it was just safety protocol. Apparently, they haven't had any positive tests on the Chiefs or the Buccaneers. It was just safety precautions, just getting those guys away. It was what do they call it? Contact tracing. But it was a little scare, a little hiccup during the Super Bowl week. They're like, oh man, players are going to be missing the Super Bowl. Apparently everybody's testing negative as of right now, so we're still good to go.
No moving the game.
No moving, no pushing the Super Bowl back.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And the other little bit of news, I have 2 things here to cover. Highest graded QB in Super Bowl history since 2000, not Super Bowl history. Highest graded QB in Super Bowl since 2006, Nick Foles at 92%. 92.3.
Since 2006.
Since 2006.
Who won in 2005? Tom Brady?
Probably. I'm not going to lie. It didn't show me. All I have is the stat that Nick Foles was the highest grade.
2005. Tom Brady and them Patriots against them Philadelphia Eagles, 24-21. I don't know. I'm just saying that's the last year. 2005 is when
I think that was the 2004 season that we played with the Eagles played the Patriots though.
2004, 2005. Because the game was played February 6, 2005. I got a list of them right here.
Got you.
Because you had me curious about the Washington thing. Washington has been to 5 Super Bowls since the 70s.
Wow.
Since, I guess, they had 10 years. They went in 73. They lost to Miami. And then looks like in 83, they won. And then in 88, they won. And they lost in 84. So they had 3 in the 80s directly after all those.
As soon as they started getting first-round picks again, they were able to build something.
In 92, they were also in it. So, the 80s and the very early 90s, they were like, okay, and they haven't been nothing since. So,
the other NFL thing I have here, most recent season having the best record in the NFC. I didn't see one on the AFC, which I'm sure it was just the Patriots. Most recent season having the best record in the NFC, the Packers at 2020, 49ers 2019. Somehow the Saints are 2019 as well. I don't know why they have 2.
I think they were both 13-3.
Okay, so yeah, they're tied then. That makes sense. The Rams in 2018, the Vikings and Eagles in 2017, the Cowboys in 2016, the Panthers in 2015, Seahawks 2014, Falcons 2012, Giants in 2008, Bears in 2006, Bucks in 2002, the Washington football team in 1991, the Cardinals in 1974.
Damn,
and the
that was a long streak.
Yeah, and the Lions, no, they haven't. They have never had the best record in the NFC.
Never.
Never. The Lions are the only team.
Sure as hell.
Yeah, the last time the Cardinals have had the best record in the NFC was in 1974.
Damn.
Yeah, and the Lions have never had the best record in the NFC. That's wild. The
Patriots was either 16 or maybe 14. One of those years we went 14-2 was probably the last time we had the best record in the AFC, because lately there have been teams that have had the 1 seeds above us. Even if we get a bye week, we've been getting the 2 seed. Yeah. Like Baltimore was real good the 1 year. I think they were 14-2.
Yeah.
Like that. But yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. And another personal question. It wasn't any news or anything, but before we move on, what was your favorite either moment or storyline of the NFL season before we hit the Super Bowl?
This is a tough question.
It is a tough question. I had to think about it for a minute.
Favorite moment.
And on the opposite end, what was your worst moment?
Okay. Worst moment. I got a lot of them. I had one that immediately popped into my head was the Bills game. Even though this Patriots team wasn't going to end up doing nothing, the fact that you are like Cam Newton had that bust out run. He got the first down, and we're like, then we're in field goal position. We're in field goal range. Yes, we're gonna tie the game, go to overtime, at least, you know.
At least.
Next play, Cam Newton run the ball, fumbles. I'm just shell shocked. Like game, Bills, it's over. I think that was the second one. No, that was the first game of the season because they destroyed us in the second game of the year. That was the first game that we played the Bills. But that I think that was one of the first times this year where I was like, okay, it's probably unrealistic that we're gonna be doing anything major this year. Type of feeling, like that type of feeling where I'm just like, okay, Cam Newton's not 2015 Cam Newton. And everybody was right. But anyway, as far as best moment of the year
or best storyline,
more like was it had to be Patriot specific?
No, anything in the NFL.
I got one. This is kind of off topic, but Baltimore has there was this little kid named Mo. He would do like radio shows and stuff, and like I know he was kind of like not super involved with the team, but kind of involved with things going on. And he ended up passing away. He was terminally ill, and ended up passing away. And they had Baltimore put the M and the O in Baltimore in the end zone. They painted it gold for the whole season. It was gold.
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
It stood out. It just said Mo. Like
all
year. I didn't even know this until like week.
I didn't know that.
15, 16 when I heard about it on the radio. They were like, they said it, and I'm looking at pictures, and I'm like, holy shit! Their end zone, the Baltimore, the M and the O in it are gold for Mo, and I'm like, that is so crazy. And it was just this type of stuff that was like making me tear up on the way to work as I'm like listening to this, like because they're playing like his clips of his like like him talking about stuff, and like he had an interview with John Harbaugh where he was like talking about like him choking or something. I forget what, like, and like they were just busted up about how this kid had the balls to ask that coach that question or something. Oh man, it was just great. It was just that was probably my favorite story as far as like storylines in the NFL goes. I'm not really sure off the top of my head. That's probably the best one I could come up with.
I was surprised you didn't say the Tom Brady storyline this year.
No,
the Bucs
I wanted
going
to
the Super Bowl.
Subconsciously, I want to, but
that was the obvious one.
I don't even want to say that that's nothing to do with me. So like I'm just like neither is Baltimore's thing, but like I want to distance myself from Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl other than me repping him. You know what I mean? I want to rep him, but like that has nothing to do with the Patriots. That has nothing to do with I can't take no glory in this other than Tom Brady. Let's go Tom Brady, but that's not our Super Bowl. So
yeah, that's true. But it's still it's somewhat of a victory because you've been supporting the dude for so many years. That's like if Jimmy Butler would have won the finals last year, that would have been like a victory in my eyes. Like Jimmy Butler like won a chip after even leaving Chicago.
Makes me very happy to see him like because I lived with it for the last 20 years of me being able to reap the benefits of like my quarterback could like whoop. You're like, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter who it is, like Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning. He's taken down AFC quarterbacks for years, and then an NFC quarterback here and there. His first season in the NFC, and he beats
goes straight to a Super
Drew
Bowl.
Brees and Aaron Rodgers, wins 3 road games to go to a Super Bowl in his first. So that type of shit makes me happy. I'm like. Yeah, that's goddamn right. Prove them wrong. Keep proving them wrong, because I've been defending you for years, motherfucker. Like, talking about you need to deflate them footballs, blah blah blah. Like all this BS. Prove them wrong, Tom. But now you're going up against Pat Mahomes, and I'm like, man, I don't know if you can do it. We'll see.
We'll see, man. That's going to be a
See.
really good game.
Mhm.
For me, my worst. I don't know if I want to say the whole Eagles season or
Oh,
just Carson Wentz in general. Just
the
like
Carson
that's my
saga.
worst. The Carson saga. That's probably my worst
Not
moment
the
of
whole
the year.
saga, just this
This
BS.
year, the story,
Yeah.
this like the 2020 Carson,
Mhm.
like that's the part I
So
hate
up
most.
and down. Because
Yeah,
you were
I'm hoping
thinking
they
like
get it turned around, man.
at first it was like
We had high
he's
hopes.
trying to just do it all by himself, and then
Yeah,
it turned into like he's trying to do too much. You know
yeah,
what I
he's
mean?
tried to
Or
do too much, man, and it just didn't work out. I mean, I talked about it at extensive, like numerous times. Like, it wasn't just him. Like, there
yeah,
was other issues with him.
exactly.
That like the O line was so banged up, dude. It was so like tore up. That
But
didn't help.
I think
And
it
then
was
the
getting to the
coaching and
point
the
where he
game
wasn't
plan on
helping.
top of it. Yeah,
You know what I
exactly. It was
mean?
just making
But
it
like
worse.
exactly, so they
But
had to
like
do something.
even when Jalen came in, he had the first couple games that were decent, but like it started turning into the same situation. He was just able
And
to kind of make it look better because he was more mobile. You know.
Cam Newton got benched this year too, a couple times. So
Yeah.
like I
So
feel
we'll see what happens with the Carson saga going forward. Surprisingly, on one of my favorite moments of the year is we'll see if it happens again. But the saga of the old Cleveland Browns being nothings last year, the past couple, like how many years? 20 years now. And then look at them.
never going to Super
They
Bowl.
got more than 10 wins. They were going into a playoffs. Everybody said they were going to lose immediately to the Steelers. Shut
And
them
then
up.
they
Shut up a
won.
bunch of
They
people. Yeah, they
whooped their
won.
ass.
They gave Kansas City a game, man. So I mean, the
Now they're getting
Cleveland
Odell
Browns.
back.
Well, yeah, exactly. We talked about it right after they were eliminated. It was like the Browns fans should have nothing to hang their heads about. This is a great
Yeah.
start to like a. You can see what they can do now. They just have something to build off of now. So who knows how good they can be next season? And it was really cool to see the Browns and the Browns fans actually have something to cheer about.
Who would have thought that they
Who would have
would
thought?
come out of that division with a 10-0 Steelers or a Baltimore Ravens? That
Yeah.
they were coming out. I mean, they didn't. I know the Steelers still won the division, but like
Yeah.
Cleveland was
That
right
division.
there.
That division could be tough going over the next couple because you got three teams that are going to be competing for that number one
Yeah.
spot.
They're always
Um,
good though. Like I
yeah.
mean, even when the Bengals were kind of mediocre, they were giving people games because they always would have like a decent enough defense. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Ocho Cinco, AJ Green, shit like that.
Yeah.
But like that's all. We'll see what they do even with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. See if they can actually build around him, build an O line because that dude was just getting sacked nonstop, man. But one of my other favorite moments was just the Bills in general, man. The Bills
Yeah.
were just having such a good season. They were having a good time. They were just having fun playing football, man. Josh Allen, Wheels, he had an amazing season.
Wheels. Me
Yeah,
and Wyatt nicknamed Wheels.
Wheels.
We
It just
refer to
sucks
him
to
as
see
Wheels.
their season end the way that it did to the powerhouse Chiefs, who are now just like they were just getting stronger. They were just like leveling up, going up a Super Saiyan level every game. At that point, the Chiefs.
Yeah. They finally got past. Oh, great! Tom Brady's out the division. We could win. God damn it! Pat Mahomes is running the NFL now. So like, Josh Allen has to be even greater than great next year.
Yeah.
So
So
I
yeah,
think
those were my
they're on a
favorites.
great trajectory. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. I would say the Bills more so because I know Cleveland's is on the upward trend, but I think the Bills are definitely a step or two above where the Browns are right now. They're
That's one
competing.
quarterback. There's a team that's a quarterback away from being the main threat to the Chiefs. And I was watching this on Greeny. He's the one that
Okay.
I
Interesting.
saw this on.
Who's that?
The Colts.
The Colts.
Two
You're not
stud
wrong.
running backs, great defense, great O-line.
Yep.
Got a 31-year-old quarterback named Andrew Luck that's been chilling for 2 years. Jim Irsay apparently
Not
has
gonna cost
left
you
left the door wide open for Andrew Luck to come back at any moment. Now, Greeny was saying on this too, specifically, there is zero indication. There's no reason he's saying this. There's nothing other than just putting pieces together. You know what I mean? There's no indication of Luck coming back, but they are literally Andrew Luck. This is what he said. He's like, they are an Andrew Luck away from being in the Super Bowl, away from contending.
I believe it though,
Chiefs.
Man. I believe it. You give them like,
got a good point.
Yeah, I mean, you even got like the rumor mill that's going around, like if they trade for Wentz if he was available, or if they trade for Jimmy G or any of these other quarterbacks that could possibly be available. Matt Ryan that could be available. I know. I heard a rumor today about the Raiders getting in on the Deshaun Watson mix. So like, Derek Carr could be on the move, man. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, but I think Derek Carr is a lateral move from Phillip Rivers, though.
Yeah. I would agree. I tend to agree with that. But that's all the NBA news that I have here. We've been rolling here talking about NFL for a minute. So we'll kind of hop into the NBA news.
Damn,
and
we have been for a while. I don't know.
We've been talking about. There's a big NFL special, Super Bowl special.
This is like an hour of NFL talk, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, you getting what you pay. You're not even paying. You getting what you came for. I have some news and stats. I'm sure you have some of the same stuff that I do for here. An interesting stat I saw today. Yeah. An interesting stat I saw today. The Brooklyn Nets are number 1 in points scored and dead last in points allowed in the NBA since James Harden went to Brooklyn.
Do you know the stat about that? Apparently that is in history of the NBA.
What?
For both of those. Since James Harden, and listen, I saw this. This is another thing I saw somewhere else. I saw this on Max Kellerman talking about this. He said,
"That's crazy."
They are since the NBA, or in the history of the NBA since James Harden. Both of those stats are like records for the history, like the most points allowed and the most points scored.
Wow! And the Nets did that. These guys. These guys.
They are looking nice though. They're 13-9, second in the West right now, or in the East.
Yep.
So they surged up to where they needed to be. They leapfrogged.
It definitely gave
Milwaukee.
them that boost.
Yeah.
And especially with Kyrie coming back too. They're starting to gel now.
Mm-hmm.
In other news, Miami Heat center Myers Leonard is undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery.
Oof.
Which is a big blow. As soon as like Jimmy Butler came back too, Jimmy Butler came back. I think he dropped like 30 or 40 points, man. He went off, and then you have this happen, which is like, oh man, it's just one thing after another for the Heat.
Yeah, that sucks.
They're having a bad season.
They're definitely not in the same position.
No, not at all. Story filed by ESPN, the NBA and NBPA are progressing towards an agreement for an All-Star game on March 7th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. A single night event that would encompass an Eastern versus Western Conference game and skill competitions. So it's all going to be one night.
I don't necessarily agree with it. Just simply because it's like I know all of these games at the end of the day don't matter. It's just the sport. You know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, none of this shit matters. It's just playing a game. But like even with that outlook on it, I don't see any reason to play an extra game like that. You know what I mean? If it's already a shortened season, especially
like
you're already getting
putting all these different players from different teams together. You know, like I totally agree. You could have the All-Star voting and the All-Star teams, but like there's no reason to play the game and actually have everybody come together and risk people getting COVID. You know,
there's no reason for
going back and spreading it to literally every team at that point.
I think it's money, trying to recoup some more funds for missed stuff. But like, I just don't agree with that. I'll still watch it. So shame on me. I'm still gonna watch the game if they play it. But like, I don't. Hey, I'm gonna play basketball. I'm gonna watch basketball.
I don't agree with it, but I'll watch it and I'll be like, man, they probably shouldn't be playing this game.
That was a sick dunk, but you probably shouldn't be here.
Whenever the first news breaks about somebody having it after that All-Star weekend, I told you. I told you.
I would come on this podcast and be like, look what happened.
Look what happened.
How many players? 60. Look what happened.
Other news, Bradley Beal apparently does not want to trade from the Wizards.
He's playing like an
supposedly.
MVP, and he wants to
Yeah.
stay on the Wizards.
I mean, everybody saw the video of him when they lost the other night, and he just looked like he's on like shaking his head on the bench. He's looking like he's like thinking of a million things. He's going
I
crazy.
gotta
Like,
get out of
how am I
here.
gonna reach these kids? How do I get out of here? But
But
apparently
he
he
does
wants
not
to
want
stay.
to.
He wants to build. He wants to build a team in Washington. And I
Yeah,
respect it. I
yeah,
respect
it's
it, man.
very respectable.
Especially with the season he's having. He's playing really well.
Just how many rebuilds are you gonna sit there through? You're wasting your career. But I respect it. Dame did the same thing.
Yeah, man. Exactly. And the only other thing I have here is the NBA power rankings that were released by ESPN for week 6.
Okay.
But if you have other news, we can wait to go over that.
Tiny stuff. Like I had about Bradley Beal, I had about the Nets. 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking real nice. Even without
Yes.
Joel Embiid, they've just got their first win. I think they're 1-4 now when Embiid doesn't play. But
Yeah.
they're number 1 in the East. Yeah, 15-6, number 1 in the East right now. Beat my Lakers the other night on a crazy game.
That was a wild game. Came down to the Tobias Harris shot.
Yeah, man. I like what the Sixers are doing lately. I did want to say, as far as like just little tidbits about the NBA, fans are back in some forms and fashion in certain stadiums. We got fans back. That's great.
There's Lakers fans there, and they're already starting trouble.
Yeah, man. That wasn't a Lakers fan. That was a Hawks fan.
That was
at
a
Lakers game.
courtside Karen.
Courtside Karen, and like everybody's saying, like that thing is great. It is what it is. That's that's basketball, baby. Fans are back. LeBron loves it. He's like, yeah, they need that. They need that. Like now, LeBron gets that feel. Like whenever that Cavs higher up said something the other day, or he just like started clapping when LeBron missed
a free throw or whatever.
It's like I took that personal. And then LeBron went off in the fourth quarter like he was Michael Jordan or some shit. And it was just great. I love that fans are back in some form, so that's awesome.
It's always good to see that. It's going to be cool to see fans at the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
Since they're going to have fans.
Even though there's going to be more cardboard cutouts than fans, but whatever.
Yeah.
But another thing, LaMelo Ball, man, every week.
He's a starter now. He got promoted to starter now.
And them Charlotte Hornets are looking nice. I think they're middle of the pack.
Jordan's finally I'm finally doing something with this team after all these years.
Where are they at? They're in the 8th seed right now. They're holding that. So I know it's early still. We're a little bit over a quarter of the way through the season, but
Michael Jordan might have figured it out. Might have found his star to kind of build around there.
One other thing. Did you hear about Dennis Smith Jr.? He requested, because he's on the Knicks right now, kind of riding the bench. He requested getting transferred down to the G League so he can get more minutes.
Really?
They granted it. He went down to the G League and he's going to be balling down there, trying to just stay fresh. And everybody's commending the move as that's
that way
awesome.
He's not just sitting on the bench. He wants to be playing. He wants to
swallowed his pride. He's like, I'll go down to the G League. I don't care. I'd rather be down there and start.
I'll out on these motherfuckers. I'll show you what I can do. He's going to be dropping 40 a night.
But he went down to the G League on his own accord, and the team even granted it. I thought that was awesome.
I didn't see anything about that. That's crazy. That's cool, though.
Right. Did you see Clay and Draymond talking all that
talking ish, man?
What's his name? Rodney McGruber. Honestly, don't really know who this dude is, so I have nothing bad or good to say about him. But I think Clay being a commentator during that game, talking shit on him, was wrong. I don't think that was very unprofessional. Even if you're even the commentator was like, okay, take it easy, because he started saying he's a trash player. He's going to be out the league soon on the NBA broadcast.
Right. It was definitely unprofessional of Clay to be doing that, man. But on the other hand,
Draymond in the press conference, did you see what Draymond was saying?
Yeah. Do you have the quote?
He's like, who the fuck is I just remember he's like, who the fuck is McGruber? Or it's he's a tough guy. Everybody leaves.
And then you had a bull coming out saying that this is just karma for Clay got karma because he hasn't played in 2 seasons. Maybe you should start playing to actually talk some shit
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And then Clay went at him saying like, I'll drop 40 on your ass like first night or whatever. Wait till we play each other. But like,
it's nice. It's
I
crazy.
kind of like,
Steph's
it's
just
crazy stuff, but like, I kind of agree with both. Like, I don't agree with what Clay was saying, but like, I kind of got what the other dude was saying. Like, man, maybe start playing some games, stay healthy, start talking some shit, man.
Yeah. I
Like,
don't really have a horse in that race. I just thought it was
yeah,
very interesting.
exactly. It's funny. It's like that's recent too. That just happened, so that's
Mhm,
pretty wild.
mhm. But
Big
that's
talking
pretty
ish.
much. Other than I do have the hot and not list here, like as far as the
Yeah,
not. Luca, what are you doing?
man, them Mavs, they are in
6 straight,
trouble. Man. They do not
six
look
straight
great at all.
losses. No, I only have 2 teams on the not list this week because
Like
they
you
have
had
6 straight losses.
that team,
Orlando has 3 straight losses, so they're you know what I mean. But
and
Dallas,
Orlando started hot. But they've had some injuries. But yeah, man, Luca and the Mavs, that was a team that was competitive. Like they were competing the past couple years. But like,
right?
geez, man, they just look terrible. They're like the Heat.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know, man. I don't know
things
what the
change,
issue
but
is. Yeah, things
as far
change,
as
but
the
it's crazy. It hasn't been that long. They were pretty deep in the playoffs not long, a couple months ago, you know?
yeah, Luca came back as cheeseburger Luca. But anyway, as far as the hot list, I got Memphis with 7 straight wins.
Ooh,
Houston with 6 straight. Phoenix with 3 straight. And my honorable mention is Utah because they were 10-0. They were on a 10-game winning streak, but they just lost the game, so they're 10-1 over the last 11.
still,
They're
man,
on
yeah, that's hot.
Utah apparently the only team over the last 2 seasons to go on a 10-game winning streak.
Damn.
Like this is the second time they've done it. I was like, damn, okay. Okay, that's
Damn.
pretty much all the NBA news that I had though.
Okay. Speaking of the top teams, I do have the ESPN power rankings here for the NBA before we move on. It's just the top 10 here. Number 1, they have the Clippers as the top team in the power rankings as of right now. The Clippers. And then the Lakers at 2, the 76ers at 3, the Jazz at 4, the Nuggets at 5, the Nets at 6, the Bucks at 7, Celtics at 8, Pacers at 9, which is like the
Okay.
Pacers are in the top 10, man. And then the Suns are at 10. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's as of week 6 in the power rankings. But
Okay.
I was a little surprised to see the Clippers because the Clippers, I feel like I never see anything on the Clippers. They're so quiet right now, and yet they have
Especially,
a decent
like-
record. They're considered a top team right now.
It's because people are not convinced by regular season Clippers right now. They want to see
Yeah.
playoff P. They want to see if he could be
They're
playoff
like, we
P
know
or
what
he's
you
gonna be
could do
Pitt
in
MVP.
this. We know what you could do in the season. Now let's see what if
Mhm.
you can go a little farther than the playoffs.
Right.
Like kind of how the Bucks and like how the Bucks are, how the Rockets were with James Harden. We'll have to see if they could do it with the Nets now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's the power rankings. That's pretty much all the news that's going on here.
The only other tidbit of random news I had was the McGregor fight. I know
Okay.
neither of us really follow UFC too much or talk about it too much, but I figured I'd throw it out there. He did
McGregor
get
got knocked
the
the
old boom
fuck
boom.
out.
He got knocked the fuck out.
I couldn't be
That's
happier. I am
like-
not a McGregor fan. I usually root
No,
against McGregor.
I'm
chance
not
I
a
get.
McGregor
But
fan. I'm not
I'm
a
not a
McGregor
huge-
hater.
I'm not a huge MMA fan in general, but I keep up on it. You know, it's sports news. I see what's going on.
I've been
but yeah, that
happy since the boy Floyd knocked him out. No.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, but we had a huge party for that. That was a good one.
We did. But Dustin Poirier got the victory. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations to him knocking his ass out. I actually have a random bit of news as well. Since we don't cover baseball as much, here's some baseball news.
Okay.
My boy Ken Griffey Jr. will now serve as a senior advisor to the MLB commissioner. His responsibilities include youth development, baseball operations, and improving diversity within the league. And that is awesome.
Amazing. That's a
I admit
great
I'm not
choice.
a big, huge baseball fan, but Ken Griffey Jr. has been one of my favorite players in baseball my whole life. Growing up with Ken Griffey Jr. baseball on Super Nintendo back in the day, and then following him through his career, like it's crazy to see the career that he had.
Backwards cap. Man,
Yeah.
like
And then we talked about on the podcast before about him playing with his dad for a year or two. So that was cool. But like, it's really cool to see him like have such a high role within the organization, within the MLB.
Within the league.
Yeah, within the league. Yeah. Not just the organization, but the league.
I think if anybody can get some younger, eyeballs on MLB, maybe it's Ken Griffey could get me and you, our demographic, to watch baseball more often.
Yeah.
I know there's nothing, I don't hate it. I feel like I'm such a football and basketball fan that baseball kind of takes the back seat most of the time. Because I know, man, I wish if only maybe one day our dream could come true, we could do this as a full-time job. Then I will cover every sport on the planet.
Exactly.
I don't got time to cover every sport on the planet.
I had my feet into the water of hockey last year. Now I'm up to my waist. Next year, hopefully I'm up to my neck and then go from there. But MLB, that's like
football and basketball. But...
Yeah, exactly. I'm already up there. I can only be, cover so many things.
Oh,
but I mean, we do bring the breaking news at least for MLB and like hockey. We've been covering a little bit more now. But I mean, even golf, we've covered some breaking news within golf and stuff, and other sports as well. Even soccer we've talked about before. But I mean, it's not stuff we would normally.
In there.
Yeah, here and there, But that's all the news I have as well. So I mean, if you want, we can hop into the bias bubble. I don't. We have NHL news I can actually talk about here before. Sorry. I was like, I know I'm missing something, but we'll cover it just here real quick. Some breakdown as the standings as of right now. Let me pull them up. I'll just go through like the top 10 in the league as of right now. Okay. Montreal Canadiens, number 1 in the league as of right now with points. The Maple Leafs, the Flyers are number 3. And then we got the Capitals, who are really good right now. And then we got Boston, got the Blues, got the Winnipeg Jets, Colorado Avalanche, and then we got the Wild, Minnesota Wild. Okay. It's still early in the season. I mean, you're kind of seeing who the top teams are going to be as of right now. I mean, Montreal is really good. Toronto is really good. The Flyers, their wins look good, but like their play says otherwise. Their play hasn't really been showing doesn't represent how many wins they have. They've been getting the wins, but it hasn't really been in a great fashion. I have a stat to prove that here. The Flyers, who are ranked 31 in shots on goal in the league, they're like almost dead. They're like dead last in shots on goal, but they're number 1 in goals scored. They're number 1 in points. So I mean, if they're just picking their shots, man. And I'm gonna tell you, every Flyers fan, including myself, it drives me crazy because they should be shooting nonstop. And I like the whole time, I'm like, shoot the fucking puck, shoot it, have it open, shoot the puck. They never do. And you see Flyers Twitter just like, I wish the fans were in the crowd, tell them to shoot, because even whenever there's fans in the actual stands, they would yell at them to shoot the puck. Yeah, exactly. Like I see it every game. You see on Twitter, they're like, I wish there was fans in the stands to tell them to shoot the damn puck. But that was a crazy stat too. I was like, damn, they're number 1 in points, but they're like almost dead last in points, like in shots on goal. So I mean, they're doing something right. I just wish they would shoot a little bit more. And speaking of Flyers, they're also off to their best 10-game start since the 2002-2003 season. I mean,
so it's looking real nice for them right now.
Yeah, they're getting hot. Apparently, they've been missing their star center here the past couple weeks. He only played the first game of the season, so somehow they've been racking up wins without him. He's supposed to come back here in the next 7 to 10 days. So hopefully, once he comes back, they can start looking really good again.
Better, more dominant.
Exactly, even better because they're somehow getting wins now. But yeah, man. Other than that, it's still early. A lot of teams are pretty close in the standings. No one's really breaking away with any within the standings. Nobody's really. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's really falling behind. Nobody's really ahead by that much. It's still too close. We're only a couple weeks in right now.
Okay.
It's still a little too early to tell. It's not like the NBA now where we're kind of seeing who's going to be leading the pack
Right.
going forward.
Barring any injuries, the teams are starting to kind of. I mean, the trade deadline's coming up as well but like we kind of know what's going on in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's all I have. We can kind of hit our bias bubbles. I don't really have too much as far as bias bubble.
For both of them.
Okay.
Just like more or less, just kind of hitting.
Yeah.
Patriots we did cover. I only had three things written down for my Patriots bias because, like we were saying, there's not much going on right now. Until we get some more traction when the season ends, we'll get tons of more insight on different things. We got draft news, stuff like that coming up. But as far as
free agency trades,
I was hitting on Danny Amendola and Bart Scott. Also, the dude is like, can't wait. He's an analyst now. They were both. Yeah. He was talking shit. He was happy about what Danny Amendola said. That's one thing I had on here about Patriot Way and all that and whatever. I did have about Matt Stafford not coming after I was talking about him not coming last week.
Yeah.
That's some BS as well. One thing here is, what do we do with that 15th overall pick? You know? I really would like to see us use that on Mac Jones just to see, like, why not have this quarterback in the like, just try it. You know, it's Saban and Belichick. They're very good buddies. You know what I mean? So, like, why not? Like, here's a quote from Mac Jones. He was asked about this actually in the what was it here? What was he asked about? Let's see here. Yep. So, no, it was just like an interview with Peter Schrager, but he was just like, he said they saw New England be in a perfect landing spot for it. His response is, "There's all sorts of things out there for me, I guess. I got to meet with 32 teams. Got to meet with Patriots. There are some good scouts on there. Hopefully, I left a good impact on them. I think Coach Belichick and Coach Saban, who Alabama, you know, he just had Saban.
Yeah.
Obviously have a good relationship, and I hope Coach Saban has good things to say about me. But I assume he would. Obviously, one of my good buddies, Damian Harris, our young running back, is up there. Former Alabama, you know. He's up there too, so I talked to him a good amount. So, like, he played with Damian Harris, like, last year. So, I think it would be good, man. They got a little bit of a rapport as far as Saban goes, as far as Harris goes. Like, we need a nice.
There's links. They're connected. The pieces are coming together.
We need a flashy quarterback. We need a game manager. We need a Tom Brady, man.
Like, exactly.
Tom Brady over 15 years.
Who says you need a top 10 pick QB, man? Tom Brady wasn't.
He wasn't. 199. Okay. 6th round. But that's all I had for the Patriots. Just very interested to see what goes on with the draft here. The closer we'll get, the more insight we'll get on what people think.
Yeah, all the rumors and possible trades and everything that could be involved.
Right. But as far as the Lakers go, did have the loss to the Sixers on there. We actually had the first 2-game losing streak of the season. Lost the Pacers right after that. Or not Pacers, the Pistons.
The Pistons. Yeah, that was a surprising loss. I wasn't expecting that.
And then bounced back to beat the Celtics after that. So I was very happy about that. It was nice to see them back. We are 16-6. I think that's third in the second or third in the West right now. But it's super close at the top there. I think the Clippers and us both have 16 wins. I think we have losses though. But hey man, things going pretty good. And as far as what's concerned, they got LeBron out here talking shit to fans. You got just things are looking great.
Yeah.
Already losing, you know, but hey, they're not gonna win them all. Got 6 losses on the season so far, so I'll take it. This is great.
Yeah, man, them Lakers looking nice. As far as me, Bulls, they've been kind of exchanging the Raptors and the Knicks have been kind of swapping spots to fight for that 8th seed in the East. They're currently 8-11. They had a couple games slide there that wasn't really good. Hopefully they can get back on track. They just beat the Knicks last night. It was a stat here that was pretty cool. I saw Zach LaVine is averaging 26.6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 51% shooting with 1.3 steals a game. He's the only Bull to average those numbers since Michael Jordan.
Damn. And he's snubbed.
Yeah, snubbed. Like, dude should be an
I think
all-star.
He should be an all-star. This season especially.
Dude should definitely be an all-star. He keeps getting improving every year, man. So I mean, the Bulls are looking nice. I'm excited to see where they go. I obviously don't think they're going to be contending or with anything this year. I would like to see them scoop an 8 seed, maybe squeak into the playoffs, just to have them in the playoffs.
Right. That's a successful season
And then
in my book.
hit free agency next year and hopefully get somebody to go along with LaVine, that can get kids.
I'm glad that I'm like this because we signed AD and now he ain't going to Chicago. I'm like,
yeah, I was so hoping that he was gonna go to Chicago.
No.
I was hoping. I talked about the Flyers a little bit. Their situation. They're currently 7-2. With one overtime loss, which counts with a couple points. So I mean, they're 7-2 right now, which is not bad. They're doing very well. The only other team that beats them is Montreal, and they're 7-1 right now with 2 overtime losses. So I mean, they still get points for them. But I mean, they're doing really well right now. Hopefully, they come back a little stronger once they get the center back.
Right.
Eagles news. There's really not too much. They hired former Rutgers and Texas cornerback coach Jay Valai, not Jay Ajayi, but Jay Valai. He was supposed to join Houston in the same role, but decided not to. He decided to sign with Philly instead. Apparently, he was planned on signing with Houston, and like he backed out at like the last minute. Said no. And then we also hired former Jets and Rams defensive back coach Denard Wilson as the secondary coach. He coached Jamal Adams, Janoris Jenkins, Rodney McLeod, who still plays for us, Trumaine Johnson, LaMarcus Joyner, and Morris Claiborne. So hopefully that'll kind of get the secondary up and running a little bit better in the past couple seasons. And they also hired Jason Michael as their tight ends coach. He's a former Titans offensive coordinator. He's coached tight ends the past 2 seasons with the Colts. He's another Nick Sirianni connection. That's up to 4 or 5 coaches now that were from the Colts that we stole. Meanwhile, the Lions are stealing Eagles coaches. They took Press Taylor, they took Deuce Staley, and they took somebody else who was also an Eagles coach as well. So they're just like swapping all these coaches around throughout the league.
Rams losing all their front office pieces.
Yeah, the Rams lost all their coaches. And then the only other news I have here, Zach Ertz pretty much his time in Philly is officially done. There was a report saying he was told, not Zach Ertz, but a reporter was told that Zach Ertz will not play in for the Philadelphia Eagles next year. There appears to be some hard feelings. How Ertz, a big contributor during the Super Bowl run, was treated last season. Rather than cut Ertz, Eagles expect to try to trade him. Ertz has 2 years remaining on his deal as of right now. I've been saying that they've been going to trade him all season long. That I've been expecting it. I mean, I understand his point of view, but on the other hand, the Super Bowl was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, since then, the 2018 season he did well. 2019 season he did well, but since the Super Bowl he's been kind of going a little downhill. Yeah. I'm not saying he's been playing bad, but he's just been like he's not the top 3 tight end that he was. Right. I mean, that also could be due to the offensive issues as well, but it seemed like Goddard was the guy they were kind of going towards with the future. But as of right now, it seems like they might be drafting what's his name, if I can find Kyle Pitts, who is like apparently one of the top tight ends over the past like 5 years in the draft. Like he's apparently amazing that you can't stop him. Okay. So I'm a little weary on them drafting a tight end, especially with Goddard, who we know who can be really, really good.
There's other pieces
Yeah.
still there, but we'll see what happens.
I would rather have a wide receiver because our wide receiver situation is so like questionable and abysmal right now. I would rather, man, if we can get Devontae Smith, take that dude. If he is there on the board, take Devontae Smith. I want that kid in the Philadelphia Eagles jersey, man.
Overall.
Yeah, man. I would love to see him in the Eagles jersey. Have Carson
I think
could
he
develop a
was number 6
repertoire.
as well.
Yeah,
I
number
think he was
6, go to number 6.
Like, that's fate.
So I mean, hopefully that can happen. At least get some sort of wide receiver, man. And I don't know. I don't think we talked about it on the last podcast, but Nick Sirianni been getting a lot of flack for his press conference that he had, stumbling, being a little nervous. I think it's unnecessary flack. I know that like all the pundits on ESPN are ripping him, saying it's unprofessional, but dude, as long as he can coach, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You can go out, have a dude like Chip Kelly, who was fucking amazing with the media, but then go out and look what happened. Like, come on now. Doug Peterson was never great with the media, and then he ended up winning a Super Bowl. I mean, it is what it is. Dude's a first-time head coach. He was a little nervous. I've seen interviews with him since then, and I even saw an interview before the press conference where he was having like one-on-one interviews. Dude knows his shit. He's super smart. He wasn't nervous. He was just nervous during the press conference. Right. It is what it is. I'm not really shook about it. He did say today there was a report saying that they keep asking him about the Wentz and Hurts situation, which you're not going to get an answer on it until probably training camp. But he said that there's going to be competition between all positions, not just the QB position, which general coach thing to say. Everybody's going to have competition.
Answer. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, exactly. So, I mean, that's pretty much all there is news-wise. Pretty much just a bunch of coaching hires. Pretty much the coaching staff is filled out, except for one role, and that's the running back coach, which Stu Staley did. And the only news I have on that is I saw right before we got on here. Apparently somebody asked Brian Westbrook on Twitter if he was interested in the job, and he said he's available. So, bro, I would totally be down bringing Brian Westbrook back as a running back coach with Miles Sanders, because they were kind of I wouldn't say the same player, but they kind of have similar play styles. So, I mean, that would be really cool. I would love to see him as the running backs coach going forward. But that's all I have. Okay. I know we've been taking up time, but we're going on an hour and a half now. But we'll get these. We have one more thing to do, man. One more thing before we can let everybody go.
But we got
and that's the crazy sports tag. Super duper crazy facts. The first one here. This is all about Super Bowls. Why is it called the Super Bowl, you may ask? But the legend is Kansas City Chiefs owner at the time, Lamar Hunt, coined it based off of a Super Bowl toy his daughter and son played with.
This the dude that AFC Championship trophy's named after.
It was just based off of a Super Bowl, a super bouncy ball they were playing. It was like, you know what? That sounds kind of catchy. Maybe we should name it Super Bowl. What about a Super Bowl? A bowl game, but it's super. A total of 12 teams have never won a Super Bowl in the NFL. We got the Browns, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Chargers, the Titans, the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Bengals, the Bills, and the Vikings.
Damn.
Of that group, the Browns, Lions, Jaguars, and Texans have never made it to the game and the entirety of existence.
Never even been there. Tom Brady
never even smelled it.
10 times.
Half of his career, man. It's crazy. Now, this one could change come Sunday. There's only one starting quarterback who won a Super Bowl title with two different teams, and that was Peyton Manning.
Oh, shit.
And that could change Sunday if Tom Brady wins.
Crazy. I didn't know he was the only one.
Old Peyton Manning. Old big forehead.
5 head.
5 head, yeah. Only one man has been named MVP for the losing team. Super Bowl MVP, and he was on the losing team.
Hold up. What year? Because I feel like I know this.
Oh, it's way back.
Okay, then never mind.
It's Super Bowl 5.
Oh my God, Jesus! Then I definitely was going to be
Super
wrong.
Bowl 5. His name is Chuck Howley. The Dallas Cowboys lost to the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl 5, but Howley had 2 interceptions and was voted most valuable player.
Wow. Even in the loss.
The game has gone to overtime only once, and that was the Super Bowl 51 with the Falcons and the Patriots, where they blew the 28-3 lead.
Trust me, I already knew that one as soon as that started coming
I
out your
figured you
mouth.
would. I figured you would.
I know that one.
Oh.
Teacher.
The AFC team and the NFC team take turns being the home team for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I don't know if you saw this, but Tom Brady is once again wearing white in the Super Bowl this year. They're wearing their away jerseys.
Yep,
so I feel like Tom Brady just loves the whites during the Super Bowl.
Choice as the home team. Well,
yeah,
it just happens to fall on NFC, but only they get the choice this year, NFC, so they chose white. Which it's a weird superstition about how many times the white jerseys win.
Yeah, the Patriots have appeared in the most Super Bowls. That would 11 would be 11 as of 2019. 3 more than the Steelers, the Cowboys, and the Broncos. And the Patriots and Broncos also have lost the most Super Bowls in history.
5.
As of 2019, they both have 5 losses under their belts.
No, wait. Yeah, because we lost to Brett Favre, and then we lost to the Bears, the 85 Bears, or 86%. One of those, I think it was the 85 Bears.
Yeah. The next one here is there's a good reason. The reason why they use Roman numerals to refer to the Super Bowl. They were adopted to clarify any confusion that may occur because the NFL championship game, Super Bowl, is played in the year following a chronologically recorded season. Numerals 1 through 4 were added later for the first 4 Super Bowls.
So it was like Super Bowl 96, Super Bowl 85.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that. So
only one that didn't was Super Bowl 50.
Yeah, which is straight up 50.
Yeah, Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 53 was the lowest scoring lowest scoring Super Bowl in the game's history, and that was when the Patriots beat the Rams 13-3. The game has been played in 10 different states: Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, and Texas. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is a football mounted in a kicking position, in case people didn't know that.
I guess I could have guessed that, but I never knew that it was on purpose like that. Interesting.
But yeah, that was the last one I have here, is that it's a football in the kicking position. Apparently there is a story here. Only company... it's according to Football Hall of Fame. He tells us a great story about then NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle reaching out to Tiffany & Co. to make the trophy. Only company he contacted was Tiffany, which brought in the company's design chief, Oscar Reidner, as a native of Switzerland, who knew nothing about football. Reidner went to FAO Schwartz and bought a football that he put on his kitchen table. The next morning, he grabbed a box of cornflakes, poured them into a bowl, and stared at the football while eating. Upon finishing his cornflakes, he took a pair of scissors, started cutting the empty box, and transformed it into a trophy base atop the football could sit.
Wait a second.
It all makes sense. It's all so clear now. But that's all the Super Bowl facts that we have. That we wanted to give you an extra special facts section of our podcast for an extra long podcast we've had. This is the longest one we've had in a minute, but just me and you without a guest.
I know. Talking Super Bowl.
So exactly. So it definitely deserved to be a little longer with the big game. So before we go, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow on Twitter, please, and definitely make sure to check us out this coming Sunday.
Live streaming.
Our big game live stream. Can't call it Super Bowl, but it's the big game live stream. We get taken down if we call it the other day. But the big game, we're going to be live streaming the whole thing, commentating during the whole game, have guests coming in and out from time to time. It should be a really good time. So make sure to check us out then. It'll start around 6 o'clock, 6:15 between then. But yeah, hopefully we're in for an exciting game. Hopefully it's great. Hopefully, we get to see both teams kind of doing their thing, see the duel that we deserve between Tom
That should
Brady
be a
and
great
Patrick
game,
Mahomes.
man. I can't wait.
I really hope so. But until then, we'll have a lot of to cover next week with the whole Super Bowl breakdown. But until then, make sure to subscribe, and we will see you Sunday for the live stream.
Peace out.
See you, everybody.